climate change as a fact should be undisputed. Climate change is important because we're here. This is the first big climate change that is taking place since we've been on the planet in great numbers.
I've been ambulatory until 1982, and that's when I became a person that uses a wheelchair for mobility. And I am not my chair, I just use that to get around. I don't see why anybody wouldn't want to go up in one of these sailplanes, because I love the sky. I mean, that's just me. I just love it. And the view, it's unbelievable, the view up there, especially with a plane with no motor. You know, you're just like a bird, you know, it's all silent, all you hear is wind.
I would say that it's very common for students at Montana State University to work with local optics companies. We work side by side with Bridger Photonics to collaborate on multiple different MEMS devices.
There was pretty early in Bozeman, and you know, there wasn't a lot of optics going on here, but there were a few people here.
And research is all about solving problems. Here's this set of facts, or at least we think they're facts. There's this other thing we want to know about, and it's this problem. And sometimes they're easy, you solve them in a day, and sometimes they're hard and you solve them in a year or two or more. But it's fun.
Research-wise, I look at optical instrumentation for especially imaging devices.
He got Navy to dig it up again. There was one soft part of it left, and that was the tongue. And I have a picture of me holding up the tongue. The smell was so bad, it took me 2 weeks to get it off, and I can still remember what it smelled like.
The single course that turned me on the most was herpetology. And the professor that I had was a natural-born, inspiring person. And that also provided me with an opportunity to do an independent study on northern copperheads in Connecticut. I thought that was ideal. I could go out, literally play in the woods and get credit for it. I really, really got fascinated with the idea that you could actually go out and do studies of animals and learn stuff about animals.
Once prey is spotted, the anhinga darts its head forward, and its sharp, serrated bill spears right through the fish. Carrying its impaled prey, the bird swims to the surface and flips it into the air before swallowing it head first. Sometimes a fish is speared so forcefully that it gets stuck on its bill. Then the anhinga has to go to shore and pry it off against a rock.
And Ted Schultz uses them to reconstruct the past.
I started out with a really simple question, and I constantly return to that question, which is, how did the fungus growing behavior originate? How did it evolve? So it's a historical question. It's not sort of something that's repeatable or something we can repeat in the lab. It's a historical event that we're trying to reconstruct.
When Darwin first started talking about evolution and proposed all of his original theories, people looked at it as almost a linear kind of a operation. You have this, it develops into that. Now we know that it's far more complicated. And so what happens with a tree is it lets you sort that out.
We're not just looking at a single thread that weaves through the entire story of going in step by step toward us, but rather we come to understand that the adaptations, the ways of life of the early ancestors at 1 million years ago, at 1.5 million years ago, at 2 million years ago, and so on, back through time, actually were successful for their own reasons, not because they were becoming like us.
I just get a lot of satisfaction out of running computer algorithms and solving problems, analyzing data and coming up with results and seeing those results for the first time.